Hello, everyone, for those who have joined. Just wanted to give a little reminder that we will be starting in 7 minutes at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. All right. Looks like we are going to get started. It is 1 p.m. Welcome everyone again thank you again also for joining this intermediate session that we will be conducting. My name is John Franco and I'm from the Microsoft Store in Pentagon City. I'm joined today by Roxy as well as Shane, if they would also like to take time to introduce themselves. They will be assisting me with monitoring this Q&A for any questions that you guys may have.
Hi, everybody. My name is Shane. I'm a service advisor at the Microsoft Store in Pentagon City during normal times. But right now, I am helping y'all with your questions that you may have about our intermediate session. So please feel free to ask anything that comes to mind, and we will get to it as soon as we can. Thanks for being here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Roxy and Deborah Madu. I am one of our customer success leads here in the DC area, and I work with most federal agencies on their IT deployments, as well as all things collaboration. So I will be supporting John and Shane today. Feel free to ask any questions that come to your mind. We'll be happy to answer them, and I hope you enjoy the training.
Thank you for that, guys. So let me go ahead and switch over to a little PowerPoint that I will be sharing with you guys shortly. Even though this is an intermediate session, I still want to give a little bit of a backbone of just what we will be working on, but a little bit of a refresh on what Microsoft Teams is. But to start off with, what Microsoft Teams is, let me just get my pointer out here. What Microsoft Teams is an application where we can utilize it as a central hub for teamwork within or utilizing Office 365 applications to intuitively bring together the people, information, as well as applications that you use every day to achieve more. What you're able to do in Microsoft Teams is collaborate and communicate seamlessly through chat. We have a file storage system that's built in or that's built on SharePoint, so it mitigates common workplace issues like document versioning confusion and permissions issues by housing and sharing your files in the cloud. Another thing we're also going to get a little more in depth on with this course is how we're going to be utilizing the first-party tools that Microsoft has baked into Microsoft Teams, and to see how we're able to centralize workflows and communications as well. What we want to make sure we can showcase here is the centralized aspect of Microsoft Teams, how we want to reduce the amount of times you alt-tab into other programs. We want to make sure that everything that you do is all in one window so that we can save some time and boost efficiency in that manner. Going through these applications, briefly, they go over what we like to call the 3 C's, which are communicate, collaborate, and customize. We're going to see how communication is done through chat meetings and calls. Collaborating, once we go through these applications, we're going to see how co-authoring is done with Microsoft Teams, but also how we're able to in-depth, customize our workplace to make it our very own as well. But running through this one, just to show that another thing too is that there is cross-platform. There is a great cross-platform experience that Microsoft Teams has, which is the desktop, mobile, and web experience. It's available on Windows and Mac OS, as well as iPhone and Android. And the recommended browsers for the web version are Google Chrome and the new Edge that's built on the Chromium engine. But what this session is going to conduct of mainly also is a little bit of a demo. What we're gonna do is we're gonna jump into our demo tenant that I have here. To start off with, what the overview now is going to consist of for the 200 course is we're going to see how we are able to manage strategic tabs on the left-hand side here of the window, including notifications, activity, channels, and calendar. Another thing that we're going to be checking out is recording Teams meetings, as well as incorporating notes and other information. And then we're going to get into the file storage of Microsoft Teams and then showcase what it looks like on the SharePoint side of it. But to start off with here on the left-hand side, it's not, the way that it's ordered here is not what you're going to see, mainly because when I right click, it gives us options for us to unpin, except for the chat. We're able to create a new chat right here. But other than that, we're able to unpin really all these applications, and I highly recommend you guys do that just so that you could choose what you would like to have here for quick access. Like for me, the main ones that I use really is chat, activity, and calendar. I don't really use calls, so I'm going to get rid of that. I also want Teams here, but then I also want to have Planner here as well because I'm into Planner as well. This is my order that I would like to have it. Another thing you can do, but it's only on the desktop version, is when you click and hold, you'll be able to drag on into it, like which order you want to have these apps. However, it's not available on the web version. This is not available on the desktop because this is a what we like to call a waffle menu to give you access to other applications within the O365 ecosystem. But because this is the web version, this is how the structure is. Let's see. So going into, where is it? Going into Teams, right now I'm in the just the menu, as I like to call it, of all the teams that I'm a part of. Here's right off the bat what I'm going to do, just as a recommendation as well, is organization. What I should do right now is prioritize what app or what teams I want to view every single time I log in, and also pin the channels that I'm a part of and that I'm inconsistently in collaborating with, so that I prioritize the channels that I'm in and just get rid of all of the bloatware, as I like to call it, or bloat channels, since I don't really find myself in those a lot. So to do that, when I right click on the team name or hit the more options symbol here, ellipsis, it's going to allow us to either hide or pin the team or the channel. So to start off, I'm going to hide channels that I don't really, I'm not really a part of. So I'm going to hide this one, these as well. And then I'm also going to click on the hidden teams so that it actually hides it. And then from there, I'm really in these teams a lot, these 3 teams. And then I have channels here within the teams here that I'm in a lot. Just to prevent any confusion, Teams is really just the name of the workspace that you have created. It's really just the title. Northern Earthquake Exercise is the team, and when I click on it, the channels themselves where the communication and collaboration occurs is where I'm able to actually get into the main content of Teams, of Microsoft Teams. It's the channels here. So clicking it will just give me the team's names. Clicking it will give me all of the channels that are available in this team. So now getting into, let's go into the options just to showcase what that looks like. For the team itself, you're able to add channels and add members from this here. Another thing you're also able to do as well is leave the team if you would like, but as well as get the link to the team if you want to share it with others. And then this option here, if you are allowed to manage tags, you will be able to do so from here. Right now, it's only showing tags that have been created by the owner of the team. Let me just double check if I am an owner. Members. I'm a member, so I am not able to create a tags. I'm only able to view them. And as you can see here, when I went to the members of my of the team, it's able to show the tags here as well. But back to the menu here. We have, let's go to adding a channel. The difference here is that we have 2 types of channels. We have standard, which are public channels, but then we have private channels where it's only accessible to a specific group of people. Those specific people are those who are invited to the channel. What a private channel also looks like is having a lock symbol here as well. The only downside of private channels that we can see right now is the fact that not only certain amount of people can only be in those channels. I guess that could be a downside to the person who isn't invited to the channel. But another one would be that as soon as you create a private channel, you're not able to set it to a public channel. However, you can set a public channel that has been created to private if you need to switch it, but it cannot be done the other way around.
Hey, John.
What's up?
I could just interject real quick. We just got 2 questions in a row just asking what a tag is. Do you think you could go over that a little bit more in depth?
By all means, yes. Let me make sure. Let me see if I'm an owner of these. I do not think I am. Yes, I am for this one. Okay. So creating a tag here, what a tag is a name. So the at, instead of me at mentioning, so shift the number 2, instead of me mentioning someone, you know, mentioning 5 people manually like this, instead of doing that, what I can do is just mention the name accountants, and it's going to mention every single person that's a part of this tag. So instead of me having to put John, Marvin, Joni, you know, any other person, Dylan, Justin, whoever it is, instead of having to mention every single person, I could just mention the accountant. And to show what that looks like, let me go to hazmats, let me go to general, let me go to the conversation, and if I do accountants right there, it's just going to put the name accountant. And when I hit enter, anyone who has this tag associated with them, they're going to receive this mention here, this little symbol. So because I'm a part of it, it's highlighted in orange because that's what mentions are highlighted in. And from there, it'll pop up in my activity that somebody is mentioning me with this tag. Let me hide these just to organize it. But let's see. Just to go over the settings of channels as well, or the settings of teams. Another thing you're able to do as well is look at the analytics just to see how the engagement is within the team. You get summaries, you get pie charts of active users, as well as graphs of active users over time, and as well as charts of messages. And you can even check out over time the analytics of all channels or specific channels as well. From this option as well, from the manage team, you're able to uninstall and install supported applications within your teams. So all of these are first-party products besides RSS. But here, these are the ones that are supported. So if you want to utilize these within the team that you're a part of, you may do so in this fashion. At the top here, before I forget, here you're able to filter by the team or the channel. So over time, if you are a part of lots and lots and lots of teams, because you're able to be a part of a lot of teams, here you can search by them. But let's get into one of the topics, and it's around tab creation. We're gonna be in the general channel of the Northern Earthquake exercise a lot for this. So to start off with, when it comes to tabs, that's what these are here on the top. You're going to see tabs on the top here for channels, and you're also going to see tabs up the top here with every single chat that you're a part of. The nice thing about Microsoft Teams is that you really get to customize what tabs are available at your disposal here on the top. You get that flexibility because you have the flexibility of having lots of programs or applications, I mean, to be posted here at the top. So keep in mind, though, third-party products have to go through an approval process that may not be supported in your client. However, first-party products like Word, PowerPoint, websites, and PDF files, those are supported. And let's go through that example right now. Let's say, for instance, in this example, I'm going to create a website. I want to actually have this general channel created for, let's say, I want this to be as a resource for anyone who has any questions about Teams. So because general channels are created by default in every team that you create, I'm going to set this channel actually. Yeah, in order to actually do so, when I go to, where is it? No, it was in the general. It was in manage channel for the general. Because I'm not an owner, I'm not able to set this. But in order for other people not to post messages, if you just want to set it to where owners can post messages, that will be done in the channel settings when you right-click in general or hit the more options symbol here to do so. So the example that I wanted to give was that because I don't want anyone to post and I only want this to be for owners to give out any resources to serve as assistance for anyone interested in learning about Microsoft Teams, that could be done through here by setting it to owners. So let's assume that it's only set to owners, and I actually want to post a link for, we can do Microsoft Apps Help. And the link that I'm going to recommend is https:// going to be docs.microsoft.com. If you ever have any questions on anything related to Microsoft, we have documentation to support anything that you would like to learn about. So Microsoft Apps Help is the tab name. The URL that I'm setting is to this. Make sure that it has this following the HTTPS to make sure that it does contain trustworthy web content. Make sure that your links are secure. Once I save it and I set it that I want to be posted in the channel, what it's going to do is create a tab here. And from there, it's going to load it. But sometimes it doesn't want to communicate with it. But that's just because of the demo client that I'm using. For any reason why links may not be working, you're able to go to the website right off of clicking on this globe, and it's going to take you directly to the website. But see if reloading. If not, it's not a problem. But another thing to showcase also that has been created as a tab here already is outlined activities. I wonder what that is. If we click on here, it's a PDF file that somebody posted. So this could also serve as a purpose for anything like PDF files that has information that anyone could that would benefit anyone to have here at the top for quick access. This really just comes down to how you want to shape your structure when it comes to your channel. It comes down to what you want posted here on the top for quick access and what you would like to just maintain in the files, because all of these files here, they could be created as pins or they can be created as tabs if you would like to, but you'll just end up with, you know, dozens of tabs. And if you want that, go for it. If not, you could find another route to organize your just your structure for your channel. But another example I did want to set for tabs is let's link a Word document. So I am in I'm in the general. So let's actually do the tsunami info. But I don't want to post it because I don't want my general channel to be just populated with these posts that I'm just adding tabs. I'd rather just add these tabs in the background and have people check them out when they notice it, or just let everyone know in an announcement that more tabs have been created. But then from there, as soon as I click here, I could actually edit this Word file within Teams if I would like to. And anyone else that joins this document, I could, what we like to call, start co-authoring and have any type of real-time collaboration within Microsoft Teams to go back to what I said of centralizing everything within Microsoft Teams to mitigate the need to alt-tab into other programs. However, if you did have a preference of working on documents within desktop applications or even your browser, by all means, you can open it within those preferred applications. Any questions so far on just tabs or creating tabs so far? Because another thing that I'm now going to get into that can be created as a tab is a Planner. Planner is a task management application that is recommended for anyone that would like to set a bit of organization with your team. If you want to do a bit of some, I would say, plan management. But let's go through an example of creating a planner just so that we could see what that looks like. Let's call this Conference 2020, even though conferencing in 2020 is not. It's forbidden right now. But let's create a new plan. So Conference 2020, I'm not going to post about it. Let's save it. From there, does this have everyone? Yes, perfect. So what's nice is that when you do create plans within your teams, it basically uses your organization as, you know, when you want to assign tasks. So it's nice that we just have now a list of people automatically that populate in this menu so that we could we don't have to scramble around looking for people's emails. All of that is just here and from a search of a name. So let's see. We have this Conference 2020 that we do want to schedule. Right now, we have these buckets right now. We have to-do lists. We have a to-do list here, but they're called buckets. What we can do is, you know, start creating tasks like, you know, booking to book kitchen staff, book meals, this kind of deal. So, for instance, we could just start creating all of these tasks if we want to, like booking conference room and such. We can do that, or we can just start by creating new buckets, and that's what I'm going to do instead. So I will call this one, I'll call this one catering. I will call this one venue, and then I will call this one IT. So some tasks that I want to make sure get completed. Let's see. For this is, we can drag and drop here. Book meals and book kinship staff is going to be for catering. Conference room is going to be for the venue. Another task that I do want to add for venue is booking AV equipment, because I do need that. Another thing I do need is to arrange room seating. And I think that's going to be it for this. IT, I do need IT staff, so I will have that set here. But I think these are going to be the only tasks that I would like to set. Yeah, let's do that. So now that I have these tasks created, another thing I can do is hitting the more options will give me a little menu here to label if I want to set any sort of labeling. Like if I wanted to make high priority tasks red, I could set them as red. So for instance, booking AV equipment, that is going to be listed as red. IT staff is also going to be listed as red. That is high priority stuff that needs to be completed. But another thing I can do is just click on the task, and it's going to prompt me this menu here. From here, it's going to give me things from assigning them to setting the progress to setting the priority from here if I would like to. Another thing I can do is set any start or due dates, any notes that I need, but as well as a checklist, I can do that also. So what I can do here is make sure people pick a menu. What's another thing that we can do for booking meals? What we can do is conduct polling for diet restrictions. And we can just have them like this. But another thing we can do is we can make it as a new task if we don't want it as a checklist. But that's another thing we can do. We can even add attachments if we would like to, and comments too. And for anyone who has these assigned, any comments that you do make, that person will be notified of that. So that can be a way of keeping up with others, with anyone when it comes to the task that you assign to people. But what I do want to do actually is get rid of this, because in the book meals, what I want to do is actually for diet restrictions. So that's what I will do for now. Perfect. So then we'll actually set this to important, because we can actually just set these two as important tasks. But let's actually start assigning these to people. So for catering, I'm going to have Arthur and Deborah for this. And then for staff, I'm going to have Dylan take care of this. For these tasks, another thing that I'm going to also set is that the following Monday is when everything will begin, but everything is due by Friday, the following Friday. So we can do that for that. We can also do this for that, because another thing I do want to show are the other options like these right here, like charts and schedule, but we'll go ahead and show what that looks like once we list all of our or edit all of our tasks. And now for when it comes to conferencing or the conference room, the venues, I'm going to have John and Jonathan work on these tasks. So I'll have that. I'll have Jonathan work on this, and then I'll have John work on this one. Perfect. So then after that, and then IT staff, I'm going to have Shane take care of that. Perfect. So after I've assigned all of my tasks and also set my due dates and start times, what I want to do now is we're going to get into that other menu in just a moment. After we do this, perfect. There we are. Oops, did I put this as complete? There we go. After that, what we can do from here is we can set some things to in progress. So if we have individuals that already started things, if we said, hey Jonathan, after our touch base, I've set this to complete, and other tasks have been set to in progress. So then Jonathan's going to receive this comment, and then from there, what I could do is we can set this to complete, but then we could also set this to in progress. These also can be set as in progress, and we can set this to in progress. But then another thing we can do is also set this to complete. So once we have some tasks that have been completed, some that are in progress, but others that have not been started, we can finally get to take a look at what charts and scheduling looks like. We get some analytics now when we go into charts. What we can see here is an overview of all of the tasks that we have assigned for this plan. We can have here at a glance what has been created, what has not been started, in progress, late, as well as completed. Buckets have also been labeled, as well as all tasks as priority on a priority basis. And then all of the members who have been tasked, you can view here from a glance, so that if there are others that have more tasks than some, then by all means we could go ahead and switch tasks around so that we can balance the workflow out here. It's nice to have this sort of overview so that we make sure that we're able to balance out the workload so that we don't overwork people and other people are not underworking. Going into scheduling, we'll then just deal with all of the tasks that we have assigned that, let's see, that have either been set to as in progress or that are complete. Now these are only for in progress, and it's only for the following week where this is due. But then from here, you're able to jump through the month and then view it by the week if you would like to. And then we also have on the top right here ways of filtering out our plan. But that's really it for Planner. What's nice also is you can go to the plan off of this tab if you want to. Another thing you can do is go to the Planner tab here that we've pinned here. And then from here, when I click on it, I could view all of the tasks that are assigned to me, as well as the ones that are completed. From this menu, I could do all of my, what's it called? Go to recent conference. I could just quickly go here and then have it jump to all of my my plans if I wanted to. This could be of a way to of a portal, if you will, to jump you to all of your plans because you're able to view all of them here in a nice compact listing.
Hey, John, we have a couple questions about Planner, if you don't mind my asking.
Yeah.
The first question is, can you hide buckets from one group or set of people in a team so as to not clutter up their view if they are not assigned any tasks in the bucket?
To clutter, let's find that out.
Now, as far as I am familiar, I have used Planner, there's no way to quote unquote hide tasks or make them private or anything like that. However, there are ways to filter tabs, and you can, you can, if you group by assigned to, you will always show up first. So grouping by assigned to is the best way to make sure you are seeing the tasks that are assigned to you without having to worry about the other tasks as well. Right now, I do not believe that there is a way to make private tasks within Planner if you are creating them within a team.
Yeah, you could create a, I mean, if you do it within a team, it's not going to be private, I believe. If you go to if you go here, click on the globe and you go to the website itself and you create a plan and you set that to, or actually, let's find that out. Let's actually do it. Why not? It's gonna have it as public. But then if you make it as private, it's not gonna auto-populate. It's not gonna import those contacts within your organization, like how when I assign stuff to people, all of their names pop up because it's public within the team. But anything that's private, you're gonna have to invite people into that plan manually.
The next question is, does each task or each bucket have a distinct URL?
It does not, I believe. What I can do
it's all just listed within the planner website or app.
Yeah. I just want to make sure also that my let me go ahead and remove this.
And another question is there a reason why Microsoft Teams is more functional than the Outlook task tracker / reminder system that we have access to already? And my response to that would be, it really depends on what you find yourself using more. I rarely use Outlook for anything other than communicating with people outside of my organization. And so I use Teams much more often than I use Outlook. And because of that, I find it easier and more convenient to have all of my tasks listed in Teams as opposed to listed in Outlook. So really, that's just going to be a personal preference.
Perfect. Let me there is a way of doing some exporting. The reason why it doesn't show up here is because of the we have a little this tab menu here that blocks the options that would be available in the online version. Let me switch to the web version just to show what the planner on the web looks like, because it looks a little bit more better. In terms of functionality, it looks a lot more better because now what we're getting a sense of is we have options here now of going through what's it called? Exporting plans to Excel. You can now copy links to the plans and then also from here view some plan settings. That's really it, other than being able to view all of your plans from a glance here, but you're still able to do that from the tab that you select within Teams. It's just here, if you did want to do some exporting, you would have to do it through the web, not in Teams. So let me click on here. So same options of like charts and scheduling and such, right? But then if you want to do any more options, clicking on the ellipses here next to schedule will allow you to even open it in Teams, see? But if you need to copy the plan or export it, doing so will allow you from here. Now, let's see. Any more questions on Planner? I'm going to go over Forms, but Forms is very, very straightforward as well.
One question I saw is a card with a checklist marked complete at the individual checklist item, or must all items on the task card be completed before being marked as so?
You can mark it as complete regardless of the checklist. That's just a means of organizing and just having making sure things aren't forgotten. But let's see if where's the so if you do this here, we can have those checklists there, but it's still gonna show up as not completed for book meals. It's still gonna show it like that. But once clicking it, now we have some things changing, as you can see. But then, let's see. We could also check out here just to make sure. Perfect. But now, going into Forms, let me bring that one up as well. Just one of those here. Yeah. When I add here as an app to do, what it's just gonna do is just gonna ask a poll for you to create a poll. That's really it when it comes to forms. So if I go to tabs here and I go to forms, I can add an existing form or create one. So let's name this. We can make this diet restrictions if you would like to. So now what it's going to do is when you create it as a tab, it's just going to now give you more options because it's bringing the online version of forms onto Teams. So you can even preview it, see how it looks like with mobile or computer. Another thing you can do is change the themes. You can even add your own if you would like to. So let's set the octopus. Let's start adding some choices. So please select any restrictions you may have. And just to have a few, we have vegan, vegetarian. We have, what are other ones? I honestly don't know other ones. I'm just, I don't know. Don't like fish. Set it to that. Multiple answers are required. This is also required. But from there, what we can do is, if that's really the only question you would like to have, from there, you could share it. It's ready as soon as anything that you edit, it's edited or it's synced automatically. So if you did want to generate any QR codes or an embedded coding or to embed it in a website, you can do that, or you can even email it as well. But that's really it for just forms. If you want to have a direct link of having the full version of Microsoft Forms to do your editing, you could do it as creating it as a tab here. But if you really just want to create forms, quick pollings right off the bat, you can just select it off of this menu here. But another thing that I do want to also show is that you do have a way of importing other document libraries from other teams. So what that is just when I go to a channel. So if I go to Hazmat and Environmental Program and I go to Ships Recoding, let's actually pin this because this is actually a channel that I'm going to be in a lot. So we're going to pin this here. We're going to hide these channels. Now what we're going to do is, because the file system is built on top of SharePoint, when I select the more options here, it's going to allow me to open in SharePoint. So when I do that, what it's going to do is going to open my web browser, and it's going to take me to the SharePoint document library of my group. So let me switch over to that, because any sort of edit that you do make in the file system, in the files tab of any channel that you're on, it's going to edit, or it's going to sync that with on the SharePoint side of it. So let me make sure this is being shared. I just want to make sure also that the resolution isn't so bad. So I'm going to zoom in just a bit. Perfect. So right now what I'm looking at is the documents of the Ship Recoding channel. The files in the Ship Recoding channel. So what I have right now are images. I have Excel files, but that's really about it. If I click on documents, where it's going to take me now, clicking on documents will give me the folder structure of each channel. Notice how we have the general channel, Ship Recoding channel, like I pinned. We're looking in the Teams client. But this is a bit, if you want to do your file structuring, if you want to edit your file structure, if you want to add more folders and documents, but you want to have the full the full toolbox of SharePoint, I would just open the channel in SharePoint and do your backend stuff from here. So for instance, if I go to ship recoding and I actually want to tidy this up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call this images. And then from there, you're going to see a little folder here. And then now I'm going to select these. And then from there, I'm going to move that into general. Nope, not in general. In my ships recoding in my images folder, as you can see. And then from there, I'll move it here. So now it's moving all of those images. And then from there, everything is looking a little bit more tidied up. So now we'll do Excel spreadsheets. And then we will also create. Now, am I able to drag? No, it won't let me drag. No worries. So we'll grab these two. We will move it into, where was it? That was this one. Documents, general, oh, not general. It was ships recoding. And then these are going to be in my spreadsheets folder. But then I want this to go into, I want this to move into the PowerPoints. So then from here, just so that we could see what it looks like, let me get rid of this informations tab. Just so I can show you when we now go to the files of the same channel. Boom! Look at that. We just have another way of just tidying it up. But then, of course, I contradicted myself with the whole centralized aspect of it. But I also want to override that statement with saying that it really comes down to what your preferred workflow consists of, and it also comes down to what the tools are that you want to utilize at your disposal. So if you just want a really bare bones type of experience where I only need to have a way of creating files and adding folders, that's it. I don't care about anything else. I don't care about version history for in the meantime, I would say. Just do it from here. Do it from the full for the files tab here of your preferred channel. Do it from here because look, you can do the same thing through here, as you can see. So if I wanted to create another folder here, demo folder that will be deleted. Do that from here, and then it's going to create another folder. And if I switch over to SharePoint, it's going to do the same thing of syncing. Now, let me go back to SharePoint just so that we can go over what the options are when it comes to your needs on for backend work. So going here, now that I'm since I'm already here, I'm actually going to what's it called? I'm gonna edit the file structure that I have for the other channel, but let me open that up in just one moment. So I'm gonna go to the general channel of another team. I'm gonna open it in SharePoint. Now you should see, now I'm in another channel, I'm in another team. I'm in the Northern Earthquake Exercise team, and I'm in the general channel here. So we got the same type of setup here where it's not as organized as I would like it to be. So what I'm gonna do, actually I'm gonna do this editing on the files in Teams, and let's see if it'll sync. It should. Point. I'll do Word documents. So then I would want to move these over to there. I then want, let's see, is there anything in the reference? So no. So we'll get rid of reference. what we will do then is create new folders. We'll call this one PDFs, and then we will call the other one images. So then moving these PDF files over to their designated folders will, so these PDF files, just so that we can have everything more organized. Images, perfect. So then it all should sync with Outlook. Not Outlook, sorry, SharePoint. Perfect. So from there, if I wanted to, look at that. Everything is done. Everything is synced together. And selecting the more options key will allow me to, for instance, let's go to Word documents. I'm able to look at the version history from SharePoint off of here. But another thing I'm also able to do as well is when I select a document and I have this eye selected, I can get a little bit of a preview of my document as well as manage the access of this document and then even edit the properties of the document as well. You can even check out the activity thing of these documents too, even copy the path. So you can do a lot more of the admin stuff and even set up some Power Automate flows. So if you want to create flows off of SharePoint here for any of these designated files, you can create those templates from here also. So for instance, going here, another thing I can do too is I can select the alert me option. So anytime this document is edited on, if somebody does edit on it, I will be alerted, and I can even select my delivery method. I can even have it texted to me if I really need to view every sort of edit, and then sending alerts. Somebody else changes the document, somebody else changes the document created by me. I could set these up from SharePoint. Selecting this option as well will also bring me over to that version history again. So it'll give me a set of numbers for all the versions that have been created of this document. And then from there, I can quickly jump over to those timestamps. But let me go ahead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the, where is it? It's the, where is that? No, it's not this. We'll just copy this. So we'll copy the SharePoint site link, and what we want the document library of the Hazmat and Environmental Program. We want this file structure embedded as a tab in the other team, in the Northern Earthquake Exercise team. So in order to do that, because I already copied this link already, that's the first part. So copy the link of the document library that you would want to import into another team. So once doing that, let me switch over to my tenant. Once doing that, I'm going to go to my, oops. Let me go back here. I'm going to go to my general channel, and then I'm going to remove this forms tab. I don't need this forms tab here anymore. What I'm going to do is I'm going to import a document library. So when I select adding a tab and I select the document library, I'm going to use a SharePoint site link, or I could quickly select it here because it's right there. But let's paste that. Go. Perfect. It found it. Once I hit next, I want the documents of it. And then I can name it Hazmat Team Doc Library. Then save. And then from there, that's what importing another document library looks like. It's as simple as that, hopefully. If you need a repeat of doing that, you just copy the link of your document library and then paste it once you select the document library. And then from there, what you can do is off of here, look at your documents. So we were going to go to the ship recoding channel. And then see, we have the folders that have been modified by me. So if I needed to go to the spreadsheets of this, I could quickly go to the spreadsheet of this, and we can have everything more centralized. So this is a quick tip to showcase if you want multiple document libraries of other teams here, so that if you don't want to jump through each channel to go to the files of that, like each team, if you don't want to do that, you could just do this method. So you could have all those documents from every channel of that team available here. Great stuff here. Any questions on the SharePoint side of it? Because other than that, let me just make sure. Yeah, we next. Yeah, because with this is just to really centralize all of our files into one, if we want to do that. But moving on, where we go to next is the activity tab here. I recommend people to start their day off with the activity feed, since if you're away for a couple of days, away from the office, and you come back, you'll see that there's just there's going to be a laundry list of activities, and they're going to be in bold, because anything in bold means that you have not read the activity in a sense. So once you select it, it'll take you to that activity, and then it'll set it back to regular font. But another thing you're able to do off of here, it's very straightforward, is filtering. So when you click on the ellipses here, it's going to allow you to categorize what sort of activity you want to look at. If you just want to check out unread messages or reactions of posts, you could do that from here. Another thing you're also able to do is check out your activity from your behalf. So any sort of posts that were made, anything that was replied to, if you posted a meeting, if you scheduled a meeting, selecting it like we did previously will allow us to do the following by quickly helping us jump to other posts. But it's very straightforward on this part, because it's only really just jumping to your activity and then filtering through your activity just to check out what you've missed. Another tab I wanted to go over as well is with OneNote. Very straightforward with OneNote is, just like the name tells, it's a note-taking application that, let's hit enter, let's call this demo, where let me see if it'll let me, I want to use my stylus, so is it gonna let me? Yeah. There we go. So keep in mind, this is not, a lot of people don't really enjoy the experience of this part because they're used to the application itself. So if you do have a preferred method of using it as the application, by all means, go for it. It really comes down to your preferred way of going around with this application. More applications. Microsoft Stream is a video hosting application that houses all of your meeting recordings and live event recordings. Shifts is for when you want to create schedules of your teams and delegate your tasks in this order if you would like to, but you do have to be an owner of the team in order to create a schedule, just to keep that in mind. Wikipage is very, very, very multi-purpose. This could serve a variety of purposes, from posting syllabus if you're hosting a class, from posting concrete documents that are needed as a form of resources for others to be informed with. That way, or really, this can be another note-taking app. Really, it really comes down to how you want to use this app, because it's available for you at your disposal. But let's see. Another thing to go over also that we go over in the fundamentals part is the help tab, because this is just a hot item, really. It's always recommended to jump to this tab every now and then if you're interested in checking out what's new in Microsoft Teams. If you really want to check out the patch notes, by all means, click on this, because what you can do also is pin it here. So when you go to other tabs, it'll just be there for you, but it's here on the bottom, so it's not really necessary to have here. So we'll unpin that. But Another thing you can do from here is check out topics and quick videos on any sort of trainings that you want to learn about with Teams. So if you want to learn how to upload and find files or manage chat and calls, these quick videos could also teach you as well. But that's really it for the tab. This part here is probably one of the best tools to use and get familiar with, because you'll be able to do a lot from just this search bar here. To start off with, if I hit the @ symbol and I type in, say, stocks, because that's a Microsoft app that's supported, what I could do is look up some stocks from here and then look up my information that I need right off of the search bar, because I'm utilizing applications that have been installed into Microsoft Teams. And because this is using MSN Money, it's a Microsoft app, it's already supported by default. So if you want to check out more details, it's going to open the link to this preferred share that you want to look at. Another thing you do, for instance, if I want to maybe check out Microsoft, we can check out Microsoft if we want to. We're up $3, perfect. So another thing we can do as well is if we hit the @ symbol and we can mention weather, we could search for a location. So if we want to check out the weather in DC, we could quickly check the weather like that and even copy it and paste it and send it to someone if we want to. But going into commands, I love commands here. Hitting the /, it's going to list all of these commands that are available. So for instance, if I want to set my online presence, instead of clicking here and setting myself to do not disturb, keep in mind that when you manually do set it like this, you do have to set it back or you will not receive notifications. Instead of doing it this manner, what I could do is hit Control-E /DND, and then boom, I just set myself to do not disturb. If I want to set myself back to available and I just closed my app by accident. One moment. There we go. Sorry about that. If I wanted to close my, what was it? If I wanted to chat with someone, /chat and type in the person's name that you want to chat with. Hey, what's up? There. It's going to send my message. I can hit enter again if I want to view and chat, but it's really great what you're able to do with the search bar. If I want to maybe check out all the recent files that I've looked at, if I hit /, type in files, and then type in the file name, from there, I could quickly jump into a document and start co-authoring with others from there. You really get to fly through this app from the search bar here. If you're curious as to what the options that are available from here, this is where all of your settings and as well as online presence options can be tinkered with. So I'm going to reset my status just to have that set. I can set a status message if I'm going to be away. So if I'm going to be away for a week, please contact either Shane or Marvin or Miriam. We can do Miriam as well. They will be more than happy to assist. And I could have this show to people anytime they message me, and then I could set some time limits as well. So if I only want to set this for, actually, no, it's going to be for this week. I'm going to set it to done. And then from there, I set myself as a status message. And another thing too, for the people that you've mentioned, it's going to create a little timestamp for them. It's going to create an automated message that I mentioned her in a status message, and it shows what that message is. Going back to the top right-hand corner, we have where we can check out saved messages. And if you're wondering how to save messages, hovering over to your designated message or thread will allow you to either react to the message or select this more options key to save the message from here. So once you do save the message, you'll see a little icon pop up here. And when you click on saved, you'll be able to view all of your saved messages. And just like how you were able to do an activity where when you clicked on it, you were able to jump to that message, the same thing applies to the saved messages. Going back up here, when we go into settings, this is where we're able to tinker with how we want to view our app. If we want it in dark mode, or if we want to need it in a high contrast mode, we can do that. Another thing we can also do is set the app language as well as keyboard language. But keep in mind that they do override shortcuts when you do set the keyboard language. When it comes to privacy, if you set yourself to do not disturb, but you still need some people to get in contact with you, managing priority access will allow you to do that. So when your status is set to do not disturb, you can still receive notifications for chats, calls, and mentions for the people that have been listed below. So if I needed to add maybe another person, Marvin, and maybe the administrator. Oh, is it admin on here? There we go. I could set it that way. But then another thing I can do from the settings option is block calls that do not have a caller ID, as well as edit the block contacts that I do have. When it comes to read receipts, however, this option may be set to on by default from your admin, but if your admin allows you to turn this on or off, you could set to where people will be able to see if you've seen their messages or not. And then any surveys that Microsoft asks for you to participate in, you could opt in or out of this of these surveys from the settings. And then when it comes to notifications, I always recommend for you to either have banner or only show in feed listed, never banner and email, because every day your inbox will start to get populated and start to get bloated up with a lot of activity emails from Teams. So I really recommend you have either banner turned on or just in feed, because sometimes you could always check it out in your feed regardless. So you'll always end up seeing that notification in one way or another. So let me just set all of these to only show in feed, because that's all I really need. Going into calls, if you have your phone system of your company routed in, you're able to set answering rules as well, but these also apply to when you're it's just any standard video and audio calls. If you want to have rules placed where strictly forward your calls to voicemail or let them ring, you could do it from here. Configuring your voicemail will be done from here, but if you set yourself to calls being able to ring, you could do nothing or have it sent to voicemail if you would like. From here, you could even set your ringtone and even play test your preferred ringtone. And then when it comes to communicating using text over phone lines, you could use you could turn on that mode here, but please make sure to have a compatible device connected when you turn this mode on. But then going back to this option, we have a way of checking our keyboard shortcuts for the platform that we're on. But if we wanted to check out other platforms of their shortcuts, we can quickly click on this link on the bottom left-hand corner. But then if we wanted to check out the Accessibility Center for Office, that can be done here on the bottom as well. But that really concludes just what's available on this part. Other than this, you're able to change your picture that also updates Office 365 apps. So it'll sync across all of that ecosystem from here. But that's really it for just this portion of it for Teams on the intermediate side of it. Of course, if you do have any questions of Teams in general, we can dedicate the last part of this session to that. It doesn't have to be on the more intermediate or advanced side of it. If they are on the basic side of questions, by all means, we could also do a bit of a demonstration if that answers it better. But let me know if you have any questions, by all means.
John.
Yes.
Can you delete chats?
You cannot. You will not be able to. The only way you will be able to maybe ignore it or hide it really would be by hiding it. If you can see here, when I right click on any of my preferred preferred chats, I can have the option to hide it, but then I can also mute it as well so that I don't receive any notifications. So if I hide this message, it will disappear. However, if a person does message in that thread, it will populate again. If you have a group chat that you're a part of, you can leave it so that you don't receive notifications anymore. You can leave it like that, and then from there you could hide it so that you won't receive any more pings because you left. But that would be the only way for you to sort of delete, and I say delete in quotes, chats.
right now. Can you demonstrate once again how you obtained the weather from the search box? I think you're muted.
Thanks, Shane. So instead of me mentioning someone, let me mention the weather app instead. So @ weather, hit enter, and then it's going to ask you to enter a city, zip code, or location. And the same thing applies to any other applications that are supported. As you can see here, it will give you a list of ones that you're able to do. So if I even wanted to do YouTube, but YouTube may not be available, I could add YouTube and then search a video from here. So if I wanted to search up Surface Book 3, I can do that from here as well. Oh, and then pin them as well, or an install. Oh no, I can't reach that. No worries. But let me clear the status.
All right, John. What is the best way to integrate email correspondence, for example, Outlook, with individuals outside into Teams?
I'm not familiar with how the external contact process is with this agency. However, as long as there is an email that you're able to use, as long as it's like a work email that you're able to use, you're able to use Microsoft Teams. So sending a link to someone like for a channel that you want them to join in on, send them that link, and when they open it, it'll prompt them to signing into Microsoft Teams. But if you have a better way of answering that question, I would also appreciate that.
Right now, for what I believe is in the GCC tenant, there's no way to communicate with those outside of your organization through Teams, except via using Outlook to invite them to a Teams meeting.
Is that about GCC?
One more time?
I said, is that about GCC?
You said above or about?
About.
I believe so.
Yeah, so to my understanding, it really just depends on the organization. Different organizations have different parameters and different rules, but some organizations will allow their team's environment to communicate with outside parties directly. But there are a couple of different things that go into that, such as like federation and whether the organization has set policies to allow it. So it really just depends on what the settings that the organization has. Sometimes the easiest way to communicate outside is within an email. However, if your organization has enabled it and it's just something that your help desk will know, you may be able to communicate with another organization that does have teams directly if your organization has allowed those policies as well as their organization. So it differs depending on the agency.
Understood.
Hey, John, there's one more question I want to answer really quickly. I saw there's a question about it doesn't basically if Teams is tied to the calendar in Outlook, how come it doesn't reset when you go back into how come it doesn't reset until you go back into Teams? In Skype for Business, it always reset itself. So the basically, and John, if you want to like speak to this and interrupt me at any time, feel free. Teams does mirror your Outlook calendar. Like it will always follow whatever is going on in Outlook. So if you have a meeting on the calendar, it will show that you're in a meeting. Whether you're in Teams or not, it will show that you're in a meeting. However, if you sign out of Teams physically, like if you press sign out, Teams will show that you're offline. Like that offline will override any setting that you may have on your calendar because you have physically logged out of the application. So it's no longer corresponding with Outlook at that point. So it does mirror your Outlook calendar the way that Skype does. And sometimes certain people like to force override that. Like me, for example, right now my identity says that I'm in a meeting. However, I can go in my settings and change it to do not disturb, and what people will see is do not disturb. So it really just depends. But like there are certain things that you can do in Teams as far as the presence. You can override what it actually is saying by clicking your own presence that you want to be mirrored, but automatically it will mirror your Outlook calendar.
Also, one thing I always like to mention regarding your presence as well is that automatically, yes, it will mark you as busy if you're in a meeting or do not disturb if you're presenting. However, if you change it manually, like you manually change it to busy or do not disturb, it will not change back to available automatically. You will have to manually change it back to available. So just keep that in mind as well. John, do you think you'd be able to demonstrate how to create a meeting and a reminder for yourself in Teams?
I'm sorry, one more time?
Could you demonstrate how to create a meeting and a reminder for yourself in Teams?
Sure thing. When it comes to, let's say, creating a meeting, when we go to calendar, the calendar app here will give us our schedule for either the work week the week or the day, depending on how you want to view your schedule or your agenda. You can quickly go to the today here if you would like to, or jump throughout the month. But here, selecting the new meeting will give you a very familiar prompt of how to schedule your meeting. And then from here, what you can do is set it to just like how you can before, repeat, or host it in a channel. So if I did want to put it in the general channel of the Hazmat team, I could set it here. So if I wanted to do a touch base with everyone, I could do that. And then from here, I will just sketch or send it just so that we can show that here. And then when we go to the general tab here, we'll see that that memo or that meeting has been posted. But honestly, how do you set a reminder in Teams? I don't think I've checked that out. Is there a...
So the default is 15 minutes, and reminders are actually not through Teams. They are done through Outlook. So you can change the reminder amount of time from within Outlook, but there is no way to change it within Teams, I do not believe.
And then also in here, I selected the what was it? It was the more option or the meeting options. Where was that? Right here. When I selected meeting options, it took me to my browser. Let me show you what that looks like. It took me to my browser, and then from here it takes me to the Touchbase meeting that I just created. And then what I could do is I can set some permissions. So if I wanted to have everyone being able to bypass the lobby, I could do that. If I wanted to always let callers bypass the lobby, I could do it like that. I could do people in my organization can bypass, or I could just do everyone. I can announce when callers join or leave. I can say yes or no, or I can even set specific people with the ability to present. I could do that from the meetings options. And a reminder also that we have 13 minutes left in this session. But in the meetings, you have a scheduling assistant where you get to have also a quick overview of everyone's schedule that you do assign for as an attendee. So when I do Shane and when I do Marvin and also Miriam, we'll do, and then we'll also add. No worries, but what we can do is we can set it like that, and then we could accurately schedule this meeting out. And then we can send an update, and then we can either join, or we can just have it update like that, and then from there move forward.
Hey, John, are you able to show how you get to the month view in the calendar?
Sure thing. In calendar, day here in the top right hand corner, when I select it, I can look at my work week, or if I click on the month here, I can jump through each week of the month or each week throughout another month of the year. But you can't view it by the month. You can only view it by the week. That's as far as you can go for now. That is a feature that is recommended. And if you do have any features that you think would be cool to see in Microsoft Teams, it's always recommended for you to suggest a feature. To do so, when you select the Help tab here and select this option, it'll take you to where you could post ideas. And I also just wanted to thank everyone for joining this intermediate session. If anyone does not have any more pending questions, I will be ending this session shortly. But if anyone else doesn't have any questions, I would like to what's it called? Say thank you and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday.